The next most important metric is the click-through rate, which, as we referred to earlier, we call it the CTR. This is how many people, the percentage of people that have clicked onto the video to watch it. You can see this Samsung phone review has been shown to around 75,000 people. In the impressions, YouTube has presented this video to 75,000 people. And obviously, it's virtually impossible to get all 75,000 people to click onto that content. That's something that is just unrealistic. You may be surprised to hear that 10% is actually quite difficult to achieve, and it should be the benchmark that you target for to ensure that your content is being successful. You can see that this click-through rate does fluctuate. On some days, it's almost been 12%, 10%, all the way down to 7%, and a few factors dictate the click-through rate, how much YouTube is pushing the content out on that particular day, but also if YouTube is testing a new audience. So for example, my video had a 12% click-through rate, which meant YouTube was testing that with an audience that was super interested in Samsung phones. But a few days later, because that was successful, it obviously tried to show it to maybe some iPhone users or people that use Google phones. And YouTube was trying to push the envelope of people interested in this content over this couple of day period. And as you can see, these people weren't as interested because they may prefer Apple and don't really care about Samsung. So YouTube changed its mind and started to push it out to more people like these ones earlier, and the click-through rate rose back through. So sometimes your click-through rate will drop because YouTube's just trying it with new people that it may think is interested in what you're doing. A pretty simple thing that you can't really control too much. Something you should know though is that this isn't the most accurate click-through rate of your actual video. And if you go into advanced mode over here and you go to traffic sources and you scroll down, this will actually give you the more important click-through rates that you need to be aware of. What this page shows is all of the different traffic sources on YouTube. You've got the ones you're probably aware of, such as YouTube search, the browse feature, which is kind of the YouTube homepage, notifications, which is your subscribers getting the notifications on their phone, suggested videos, which is often at the end of videos or on the sidebars, and other things as well, external, people sharing it on blogs, whatever. Now, the most important ones to focus on is YouTube search and also browse. It's suggested video as well, but that's quite a hard one to attain. You can see here that this video in browse is actually getting a 12.2% click-through rate, which is exceptionally high and also very high for browse because of how competitive it is to get a shelf, to get the video onto that particular shelf. YouTube search, it's also bringing in a 9.8% average click-through rate. So again, it's performing very well in search, which will dictate how high this will appear in the search rankings. So when people are searching for a Samsung Fold 3 or whatever the phone was review, I will be appearing quite high in those search results now because of how good the click-through rate is. Whereas if this click-through rate was something like 2.3%, which believe me, I've had videos that have done that before, it will basically do nothing and YouTube will never show it to anybody. There's two things to consider when it comes to increasing your click-through rate. The first one is creating effective thumbnails that, obviously look good, attract the eye, but aren't too clickbait and over-promising on what the video is actually about. And then in combination with this, you need to have an effective title. A rule of thumb, if you're trying to go for browse sort of views, browse and suggested, try and keep your title within sort of 55 characters. That way it will display the entire title when somebody's watching on an iPhone or a smartphone device and tablet. The second option is to create a great thumbnail, but obviously go down the search optimization approach. And that way you can create as long as a title as you like and just ram it with different keywords that are appropriate to the topic of the video. If you want to go slow and steady, this is the route to go. If you want to have a more high-risk strategy that tries to push your videos out but doesn't guarantee they'll be successful and they may potentially completely flop, then this is obviously the route to go. And my tech channel is an example of this high-risk reward type strategy. I try and target the browse feature with this channel to try and push it out and get it to grow as fast as possible, but sometimes the videos just completely flop and I spend like 12, 14 hours trying to make a crazy awesome video and then it gets about 500 views. But that's the risk you got to take because on the flip side, sometimes I pull it off and they bring in 500,000 views, 300,000 views, 100,000 views, and it kind of works.